There is a phrase that many of us wear like a badge of honor. That phrase is, "I will just do it myself." It is a statement of competence. It is the declaration of self-sufficiency. When you look around at a chaotic workplace or a disorganized household, stepping in to handle everything feels like the most efficient choice. You get the job done. You do not have to wait for anyone else. You do not have to risk disappointment. On the surface, this behavior looks like strength. Society often applauds it. We are praised for being low maintenance. We are admired for being the ones who never need anything. But for many people, this relentless drive to handle everything alone is not actually about efficiency. It is a wall. It is a sophisticated defense mechanism built to keep disappointment out. If you find the idea of asking for help physically uncomfortable, or if you view relying on others as a sign of failure, you might be operating from a place of hyper-independence. Hyper-independence is distinct from healthy autonomy. Healthy autonomy means you can stand on your own 2 feet, but you can also lean on others when the terrain gets rough. Hyper-independence is the rigid belief that you must stand on your own at all times, regardless of the cost to your mental or physical health. In the field of attachment psychology, this behavior is often linked to an avoidant attachment style. It is a learned response to an environment where having needs was unsafe or where caregivers were inconsistent. To understand why this happens, we have to look at the core beliefs that drive the behavior. Somewhere along the line, you likely learned a hard lesson. You learned that expressing a need led to rejection, neglect, or chaos. Perhaps you had to grow up too fast. You might have been the responsible child who took care of siblings or managed the emotions of volatile parents. In that environment, having needs of your own was a liability. It might have felt dangerous to be vulnerable. So the child makes a silent pact with themselves. They decide that they will never put themselves in a position to be let down again. They decide to become their own provider, their own protector, and their own comforter. This survival strategy works incredibly well in the short term. It protects you from the pain of neglect. It gives you a sense of control in an unpredictable world. But as we move into adulthood, this same strategy becomes a barrier to connection. The walls you built to keep pain out also keep love out. You might find yourself in relationships where you feel deeply lonely, even if you are not alone. You might feel like no one truly knows you because you never let them see the part of you that struggles. One of the most pervasive aspects of hyper-independence is the intense fear of being a burden. Deep down, there is often a belief that your needs are too much. You might worry that if you ask for support, you will drain the other person. You might fear that you will be too heavy and they will leave. So you shrink your needs down to the absolute minimum. You try to be the easiest person in the room to love. You convince yourself that if you require nothing, you will be safe from rejection. But this creates a dynamic where you are loved for your utility, not for your humanity. You are loved for what you provide, not for who you are. This fear of being a burden is often accompanied by a profound difficulty in trusting others. For the hyper-independent person, trust is not given freely. It is rarely given at all. You likely have a mental catalog of all the times people have failed you. You remember every time someone said they would help and then didn't. You remember every time someone did a task so poorly that you had to redo it yourself. This evidence reinforces your worldview. It confirms the belief that if I want it done right, I have to do it myself. This lack of trust creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because you never delegate, others never get the chance to practice showing up for you. Because you never ask, people assume you are fine. They might even pull back, thinking you don't want their help. This leaves you feeling resentful. You might look at your partner or your friends and think, why don't they offer to help? Why can't they see I am drowning? But because you have spent years projecting an image of invincible strength, they truly may not know. They cannot read your mind, and your competence has become a mask that hides your exhaustion. There is also a significant amount of shame attached to needing help. In a hyper-independent mindset, need is equated with weakness. Vulnerability is seen as a defect. If you have to ask for directions, or for a hug, or for financial assistance, you might feel a physical sensation of shrinking. You might feel humiliated. This is the lone wolf mentality kicking in. We culturally romanticize the lone wolf. We see them as mysterious and powerful. But in biology, a lone wolf is actually in a precarious position. Wolves are pack animals. They rely on the group for hunting, for warmth, and for survival. A wolf on its own is vulnerable, stressed, and constantly on high alert. Humans are exactly the same. We are neurobiologically wired for connection. We are not designed to regulate our nervous systems in isolation forever. When you live in a state of hyperindependence, you are in a chronic state of fight or flight. Your nervous system is always braced for impact because you believe there is no backup coming. This leads to burnout. It leads to physical exhaustion. It leads to a hardness in the spirit. You might find yourself becoming cynical or judgmental of others who do ask for help. You might view their dependency as clingy or pathetic, when in reality, you might be seeing a reflection of the part of yourself you have exiled. Breaking this pattern is not about suddenly becoming dependent. It is not about collapsing and expecting someone else to carry you. It is about moving toward interdependence. It is about dismantling the belief that you must be a fortress. This process takes time, and it requires gentle, deliberate practice. The first step is to recognize the physical sensation of the block. Next time you are struggling with a task, notice what happens in your body when you think about asking for help. Do your shoulders tense up? Does your throat feel tight? Do you feel a wave of nausea? Acknowledge that reaction. That is your trauma response trying to keep you safe. You can say to yourself, I am feeling scared to ask because I learned it wasn't safe, but I am in a different environment now. A practical way to begin shifting this dynamic is to practice the low-stakes ask. Do not start by asking for a massive emotional favor. That is too threatening to your nervous system. Start with something trivial. Start with something concrete that has almost no consequence if it goes wrong. Ask a colleague to borrow a pen. Ask your partner to pass you the salt. Ask a friend for a movie recommendation. These are low-stakes requests. When you ask, pay attention to what happens. The world does not end. The other person usually says, sure. You receive the help, and you survive the experience. These small data points begin to rewire your brain. You are teaching your nervous system that it is safe to receive. Gradually, you can increase the stakes. You might ask a friend to pick up a coffee for you. You might ask your partner to handle dinner one night. As you build this muscle, the shame around having needs begins to dissipate. Another important aspect of healing is reframing how you view vulnerability. Instead of seeing it as weakness, try to view it as an act of courage. It takes bravery to lower your shield. It takes strength to admit you cannot do it all. When you let someone else help you, you are not just getting a task done. You are giving them an opportunity to be useful. You are giving them a chance to show their love. Think about how you feel when you help someone you care about. You likely feel good. You feel connected. You feel valuable. When you refuse help, you are denying the people in your life that same feeling. You are blocking the flow of reciprocity. It is also helpful to examine the narrative you hold about perfection. Hyperindependence often walks hand in hand with perfectionism. You might believe that if you ask someone for help, they will do it wrong. They might load the dishwasher differently than you. They might fold the towels effectively, but not aesthetically. Part of healing is learning to tolerate different ways of doing things. The goal is to get support, not to replicate yourself. If the task gets done, does it matter if it wasn't done exactly your way? Letting go of this control creates space for others to contribute. As you practice letting people in, you will likely face moments of disappointment. People are imperfect. Someone will eventually forget to do what they promised. When this happens, the temptation will be to slam the door shut and say, "See, I knew I should have done it myself." Try to resist that urge. A disappointment is just a disappointment. It is not a confirmation that you are destined to be alone. It is an opportunity to communicate. You can say, "I felt let down when that didn't happen." This is a different kind of strength. It is the strength of staying in the relationship and working through the rupture, rather than fleeing back to the safety of isolation. There is a tremendous relief waiting for you on the other side of this work. Imagine what it would feel like to put down the heavy weight you have been carrying. Imagine knowing that if you stumble, there are hands ready to catch you. This does not mean you lose your capability. You will always be a capable, strong person. but you will no longer be a rigid one. The myth of the lone wolf tells us that we are stronger alone. The truth is that we are strongest when we are supported. We are most resilient when we are woven into a web of relationships where we can give and receive in equal measure. Ultimately, your needs are not a flaw in your design. They are the gravity that pulls you toward other people. They are the mechanism for connection. By denying them, you deny yourself the very thing you likely crave the most. Consider this as you go about your week. Look for one small area where you are holding on too tight. Look for one simple task that you could share. Asking for help is not a surrender. It is an invitation. It is a way of saying to the people in your life, I trust you enough to need you. And that is the foundation of true intimacy.